You'd have seen that the U.S. on Wednesday announced a 90-day pause on the so-called reciprocal tariffs on imports from most countries, bringing down rates to 10% while raising tariffs on imports from China to 145%. China, in the meantime, has raised tariffs on imported U.S. goods to 84%. This wouldn't be the first time that there have been tremors in the world economic system. We've seen it over the last 50 years in different dispensations. This one is probably a little more harsh, a little more tremulous. So there will be shifting, I think, in supply chains. There will be reassessment of global alliances. There will be geopolitical shifts and economic as well. Countries like Mexico, China, and Thailand, but also countries in Southern Africa, are among the most affected alongside the United States itself. Global trade could shrink by 3%, with significant long-term shifts in trade patterns and economic integration. For example, exports from Mexico, which have been highly impacted, are shifting from markets such as the US, China, Europe, and even other Latin American countries, with modest gains instead in Canada and Brazil, and to a lesser extent, India. Similarly, Vietnamese exports are redirecting away from the US, Mexico, and China, while increasing substantially towards MENA markets, the EU, Korea, and others. Least developed countries, including Lesotho, Cambodia, Laos PDR, Madagascar, and Myanmar, are most exposed to instabilities in the global trading system and least equipped to pivot as needed. China and US constitute about 3%, 3 to 4% of world trade. So therefore, if you look at it in big numbers, there's 96% out there that's still trading and that will trade. The indeterminate extension of 90 days on and on does not necessarily lend itself to stability. So irrespective of whether there is an extension on and on, the fact that there is no stability, there's no predictability, will affect trade and firms and decisions that are being made in real time.